So I think we finally know why all of these UFOs are popping up, why the US government is so adamant on telling us that UFOs are being shot down and somehow they're not finding any debris for them. They're all getting shot down, but there has been no debris found, according to the government. I think it's pretty obvious that they're trying to cover up this Ohio train derailment situation that is causing tons and tons of chemicals to go into the air. Apparently there's going to be like a 300-mile radius where people shouldn't be, at least for the time being. I don't know if that's going to be like a permanent thing, like literally a Chernobyl type thing, but it does seem like a lot of people are calling this Chernobyl 2.0. So it could be just as bad as that. I don't think anybody really knows yet, because the people who know the most about this sort of thing, the people who would make that kind of decision to keep people out of that radius, they have no interest in covering the story. They have no interest in being anywhere near it. They just want to bury it by telling us there's UFOs getting shot down. None of these people care. Biden hasn't spoken a word about the UFOs. He hasn't spoken a word about the train derailments. And apparently there's more train derailments happening in Texas right now. A couple more trains just got derailed that also contain chemicals. What is going on? Why is so much weird things happening, like egg shortages? Chickens are unable to lay eggs at, the rate that they're supposed to be laying eggs. Now trains are being derailed with chemicals in them all across the country all at once. Why is that happening? And why is the US government not talking about it? Not only are they not talking about it, but they're not even responding to it. There's no one, according to Nick Sorter, who was on the ground in Palestine, Ohio. I've been on the ground speaking with people of East Palestine for a couple of hours now, and they all seem to have the same question. Where the hell is the federal government? They're nowhere to be found. None of them care. They just care about covering it up. None of them actually care, and this goes for every side of politics. None of them care about the actual well-being of the people that they're ruling over. They only care about how they look to the rest of the country. So when a disaster happens, their first response isn't, how can we make this better? How can we save people's lives? Their first response is, how can we make this look better for us? That's all they care about. So they see the East Palestine, Ohio train derailment stuff happening, and they're like, their first response is not even close to, how can we make this better? How can we fix this issue that's happening? Or how can we at least advise the people who are in the radius of the chemicals to get out of there? Or stay if it's safe. That's not their first response. Their first response is, let's start announcing that there's UFOs being shot down so nobody looks over in Ohio. And what's crazy is they've trained the American people to be so smart when it comes to that kind of thing that we know when you're shooting down UFOs every 3 hours, we know that you're trying to hide us from something else. So we went looking for this. It was kind of like a Streisand effect type thing, where a lot of people didn't know about this. Then UFOs started getting shot down. Everyone with a brain knows that in the last few years, we've been trained to think, and I know it's been longer than that, but in the last few years, it's really ramped up with the lies from the government. But now we know when UFOs and stuff like that start getting shot down, there's something else going on. So let's look. And we all found the Ohio train derailment thing. And now, like I said, there's another train derailment in Texas that also contains dangerous chemicals. Let's check out some of the chemicals that are involved in this train derailment. Health and environmental concerns are mounting in East Palestine, Ohio, after several deranged trail cars released toxic fumes last week. On February 3rd, about 50 cars of a Norfolk Southern train went off the track in Ohio, causing a days-long fire in the area. 10 of the 50 derailed cars contain hazardous chemicals, including, I'm not even going to try to read those chemicals, but the authorities feared that it could set off a major explosion. This is insane, man. Residents of East Palestine were later asked to evacuate out of precaution. On Monday, February 6th, crews conducted what officials called a controlled release of the hazardous chemicals, which caused a large plume of black smoke. So a controlled release, pretty much they blew it up. The evacuation order was lifted on Wednesday, and since then there have been a growing number of reports about people experiencing a burning sensation in their eyes, animals falling ill, and a strong odor lingering in the town. Yeah, apparently there's a bunch of fish dying, just dropping dead in ponds in the surrounding area. A ton of animals dying in the surrounding area. Nick Sorter also said something about that. The air here in East Palestine, Ohio has an overwhelming chemical smell, enough to make your eyes water. Yet it seems the EPA is adamant that everything is fine. It doesn't take an expert to realize this is not the case. There's a strong possibility that residents of the town don't actually smell these obvious toxic fumes anymore, given that people tend to get used to a lingering smell after a while. Obviously, that does nothing but make it even more potentially lethal. That's true. Because once you get used to it, you're still breathing in the chemicals. You know, your body doesn't get used to breathing in those chemicals. You just get used to the smell. So you stop having that adverse reaction to it. But your body internally is still having the same reaction. It's still hurting your body. It can't be good, dude. It just can't. It can't be good to be underneath that cloud of chemicals. Like it's bad. Good morning from East Palestine, Ohio, the site of the toxic train explosion. The mainstream media is refusing to get to the bottom of this travesty, so Mario and I will. I'm on the ground now, and I'll be live tweeting our findings. Let's get to work. So if you want to know about Palestine, Ohio, or East Palestine, Ohio, and the train derailment, go follow Nick Sorter on Twitter. I mean, just look at this video here. It's a huge explosion, and you can even see the shockwave hit the camera. Look at the shockwave. Like, what? That's a huge explosion, dude. And that's all chemicals getting blown up. Getting burned into the sky. All in the atmosphere. By the way, climate people, climate change people, people who want to protect the climate, all of them are just completely silent. None of them care about an actual travesty that's happening that could just totally nuke a whole town. Like, when I say nuke a whole town, I mean, like, it might not be habitable anymore. It could be a Chernobyl 2.0. Look at that cloud, man. All just straight toxic chemicals in the air. And the federal government is doing nothing about it. I mean, maybe there is nothing that they can do because it's already done. You know, that the chemicals are already in the air. So there might be nothing that they can do to stop that or to lessen that. But they could at least advise the people on what they should be doing. Because I would be willing to bet that they probably shouldn't be in the area if the smell of chemicals is so strong that it's burning your eyes and making your eyes water. I would guess that you probably shouldn't be in an area that's doing that to you. And that's just really sad, dude. It's really sad that these people, they probably think that it's totally fine around there. I have seen some people from Palestine, East Palestine, Ohio, saying that it's fine. Like, nothing, it's not really bothering us anymore. And they're showing pictures of clear skies. But dude, you might just be getting used to the smell. So I don't know. It's really sad. It's sad that, you know, instead of actually acting, they instead just say, hey, just release the UFOs. You know, say every few hours we're shooting down a new UFO. Even say that there's some in China so that they don't get too suspicious, but that it's just in the US. You know, it's sad what our government has come to, but at least the American people now know that whenever stuff like UFOs getting shot down starts happening every few hours, we're like, okay, what's going on here? There's something real going on. And we found it. We found out what they're trying to cover up. And now there's even another one in Texas. There's just so much weird stuff going on, man. I hope it all turns out okay. You know, I'm praying for y'all over in Ohio. Hopefully y'all are all good. Hopefully this turns out to be nothing. I don't think it will, but that would probably be the best case scenario if this turns out to totally be, you know, if it turns out to totally not affect the area long term, if it turns out to not be a Chernobyl 2.0, that's what I'm rooting for. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know if you're from Ohio, how are you feeling? If you're from East Palestine, what's the area looking like? Let me know about all that stuff in the comments. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff.